Professor Morandi talked to me about and told me what the Iranian view was on control of the strait. He say that Iran will allow traffic to go through unimpeded as long as fees are paid. But you need know what President Trump said yesterday on the same topic.
Would you accept a short-term deal that allows Iran and Oman to control the strait? And would they have to open it immediately, or would you be open to that happening over a period of time?
No, the strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
What do you make of those two things?
Well, first of all, this is going to be settled in a second phase, along with the nuclear issue, and as I said before, a handful of other issues as well. And it's going to be part of the negotiating process. And the truth is, you're not going to get any concessions from the Iranians that they're willing to sign off on regarding the nuclear issue unless you get agreement on the strait. And so this will be settled later. And the end result is that Iran will end up controlling the strait. And this leads to my second point. What is President Trump going to do to prevent Iran from controlling the strait? This war has been going on since February 28th. And as you and I both know, Danny, if we had the capability to take back control of the strait, or take control of the strait is more accurate, we would have done it by now. We can't do it. We do not have the military wherewithal. And the last thing we want to do is continue the war against Iran. It would be catastrophic from our point of view. So we're not going to launch a military operation to take back the strait. All of that tells you they're going to end up controlling the strait, as Professor Morandi makes clear.
If you can see, we tried for about 40 days to defeat Iran militarily, and nothing we did was able to wrest control of the strait. Why aren't we making progress in this area?
Well, you can make any argument you want in the United States of America today and get away with it, especially inside the mainstream media, especially on platforms like Fox. So you have all of these war hawks who make these statements that make no sense when you look carefully at what our capabilities are. The idea that we have to go in and finish the job, that sounds good. Rah, rah, America, let's go in there, let's finish the job. We're the most powerful state in the world. Don't tell us we can't have our way. We can just need the willpower. That's what's lacking here. President Trump is getting weak-kneed. We got to stiffen his backbone and then send the American military in there and they'll do the job. This sounds good to a lot of people, sounds like a prescription for success. But if you look carefully at what we can actually do and what we tried to do and didn't do in the first 40 days of the conflict, it becomes manifestly apparent that these people are speaking nonsense. We have no military option here. We couldn't get control of the strait. We couldn't bring Iran to their knees, the Iranians to their knees in the first 40 days of the war with massive air power. What makes them think we can do it now? And oh, by the way, when we stopped bombing in mid-April, we then went to the blockade, and everybody was saying the blockade would work. Well, the blockade hasn't worked. And nobody really believes on the inside, or anybody who has an analytical mind, that you can use the blockade plus a renewed bombing campaign to bring the Iranians to surrender. It just can't be done. And if it can be done, it would be nice if those people could tell us what the causal story is. In other words, what targets do we hit? What effects do those attacks have on the Iranian leadership? How do we cause them to surrender? And what about the historical record? When we look at past cases where, you bombed a country like Iran after one big campaign, you launched the second campaign. What's the historical records say about why we should be confident it will work this time when it didn't work the first time? And of course, they have no such stories. They just make these empty statements that we have to go finish the job.
Why we should do it to try this compulsion situation.
Well, the thing is that Mike Pompeo said remarkably little about what we should do to win the war, because Mike Pompeo is smart enough to know that there is no magic formula. And the last thing that he wants to do is get into a debate with me and Steve Hall about what we should do to win the war. He concentrates on making the argument that the Iranians are basically the second coming of the Third Reich. They're the most evil regime.
Amazing.
The Iranian regime is the most evil regime on the planet, and we have to finish it off. And therefore, it was good that President Trump went to war against Iran. And he's fully aware that it's a tough fight, but it's a fight worth waging. But he has no solution as to how we can win this war. And he doesn't go to that issue because he fully understands that there is no magic formula there. I think there are a lot of people who believe that if we keep throwing mud at the wall, at some point it will stick. It's not sticking now, but we just have to hang in there. We're incredibly powerful, and we can do this for a long time. And sooner or later, the mud's going to stick, and we're going to have an effective outcome. The Iranians are going to throw up their hands. And you want to remember, this is, I think, their worldview, that we live in an uncertain world. You can never be perfectly sure what's going to happen when you employ military force against an adversary. And they believe there's a good chance that this will work out. And you want to remember that if this doesn't work out, if we don't go back to fighting the war, we don't renew the air campaign, and we effectively surrender to Iran, which is what we're going to end up doing, Iran is going to clearly win this war. These people are going to have egg on their face. It's going to be a huge embarrassment for them for the rest of their life. They're going to have to explain how they thought we could win this war, and therefore acted as cheerleaders getting us into the war. And therefore, they have a vested interest in trying to continue the war in hope that they'll gain resurrection.